35 years ago, I was a young man in my 20s. And I came across this sign in a buddy's garage. It said, "Looking for a woman to clean, cook, dig worms, and clean fish, and must have a boat. Please send picture of the boat." Madam Toastmaster, Toastmasters, most welcome guests. This was my mantra. This is what I chose to do as I looked for a wife, a mate for my life. Not long after that, it was Halloween. A couple of friends came over, and they coaxed me to going to a party, a Halloween party. We didn't have costumes. We started going through my apartment. Phil, big hulking man, he found some tinfoil, and he wrapped it around his face. We helped him tape it. He cut some holes for his eyes. And we said, "Phil, what are you?" And he gave us a nice pose. He says, "I'm a silver bass." Okay. His brother, Warren, he dug through the cupboards and he found a scrap of paper and he made a patch, and then we took a shoestring and he tied it up and he had a patch over his eyes. He said, "I'm a pirate." I didn't have a costume. I looked through our closet. I found an old coat and an old floppy hat, and I went as the grumpy old man from Wabasha. We went to this party. It happened to be a nurse's party. And at the end of the night, I found myself with this young lady that was dressed as a bumblebee. Now, I was strangely attracted to this woman. She was a nurse. My mom was a nurse. I love nurses. But there was something about her, something that I feared. And then it hit me. I'm allergic to bees. I took her on our first date ice fishing down in Wabasha in the backwaters. As we're approaching the edge of the ice, this older gentleman says, "Kids, be real careful out there. There's some real thin spots out there on the ice." Now I looked at him, and he was much heavier than I was, and we were young and spirited. We thought, we'll be all right. Threw caution to the wind. We went out to the ice. I augured a couple of holes, and I set this young lady's lines out. And then I took one step. And then it happened. Everything kind of goes in slow motion when there's an accident. I heard the ice crack, and down I went. And I looked up, and suddenly I'm admiring this young lady from a whole different view. She was flabbergasted. Her eyes were huge. The Minnesota state fish is the walleye. That's my favorite walleye. And she was giving me the walleye look. She didn't know what to do, and she was doing a little bit of a tail dance. I had all the more admiration for her. I popped out of the ice, and I rolled over like a beached whale. And I sulked on back. Fortunately, this young lady went out with me again, and she became my wife. I am one lucky fisherman. Through our marriage, there comes times where you go through the thick and thin. And one time she said, "Jeff, I think we just need a little tune-up. I think we should go to church and learn about the 5 languages of love." "It's next Saturday," she said. And I kept thinking, oh man, I have to have something to do rather than go to church on a Saturday. I was taking the bus from Wabasha to work, and a friend of mine, John, who had introduced me to Toastmasters, he was sitting next to me and we're chatting. He asked me, "Jeff, so what are you going to do next weekend?" I said, "John, well, I'm going to church. I'm going to learn about the 5 languages of love." And he just laughed. He laughed. He thought that was so funny. "Well, Jeff, I'm going to Cabela's." I went to church, and you could cut the tension with a knife. It was pretty tense. Even the minister was saying so many ahs and ums. And my wife was so proud of me because she looked over and she saw me taking notes. She became a little upset with me when she found out I was counting the ahs and ums. If you come to our house now, we live not far from that first date down the backwaters of the Mississippi River. If you come into our house, on our porch, there's a sign that says, "Here lives a fisherman with the catch of his life." And this really set home not too long ago when we were on another ice fishing trip up in Lake the Woods. 30 below. This time the ice was 5 feet thick. We're in an ice shack, 30 below. And I watched as my wife caught this huge walleye. Hand over hand, she brings it up, pulls it out of the ice. She kicks open the door and stands in the doorway. Steam and smoke are billowing around her, and she's just glowing and smiling at me. And that's when it really hit me. If you give a woman a fish, she'll eat for a day. If you teach a woman to fish, what you have is a trophy wife.